Right, just came in and my neighbour next door has cut the top of the hedges. Obviously a few branches have fallen on this side, but that's understandable, so that's fine. And I've managed to get some more manure from somebody who couldn't manage all that they'd ordered, because it comes in a 3-ton minimum order, and she took all she could use and she couldn't take any more, so she said, well, anybody who wants it. And so we helped ourselves. So there was a big pile here and it's got a little bit bigger. The asparagus in pots is starting to come up, so I'm going to put these in the cage and get something sorted out and get these into the ground this year. For now, all I'm going to do is put this netting back on top, because I don't think we're going to get any more snow, so it will sit there for a week or so till I get its bed ready. I've decided I'm not going to use this big cage for the brassicas, because the birds sit on top, they strip the plant and then they poo on the leaves underneath. Just to add insult to injury, like this purple sprouting broccoli is too tall for this cage, so it's been nibbled. I mean, I've got little pieces, but the main head has been had. There's other ones inside are okay, and these colettes, the birds have nibbled this and pooed on all the stuff that was underneath it, so that's no good. I mean, the height was determined by the broken bits from what was polytunnel here, so that's what determined the height of this, but it's too short for tall brassicas, so I think I will use this for cabbages rather than sprouts and purple sprouting broccoli, and I will build a taller cage for those. I mean, it's a good solid cage. It's just unfortunate that the birds don't respect anything. They think everything's for them. You can see it's all stripped from above. Down here it's all fine. This one is fine apart from the top. So I think it's going to be cabbages in here from now on. Right, the time has come to dig up these roses, because I want to move them out of the way, because this is going to be the asparagus bed. So I've got to clear it out, clear the roses out, clear the weeds out, and get the bed ready for the asparagus, which will be arriving fairly soon. So it's time to get things sorted. Look how many thistles there are. I don't mind one or two, but it's just relentless. I mean, there's one or two dandelions, but thistles everywhere. Right, I'm going to dig these up, put them in a pot, and the ungrateful so-and-sos will undoubtedly poke me and poke me, but we'll see. These roses have got some huge, thick roots. I mean, compare that to the size of my hand. And there's one there that's really thick and goes straight down into the ground, so I couldn't dig that out. Same with that one, that's got another tap root that goes straight down and won't pull out, so I've got to cut these. You can see it's quite a thick. So that's this row sorted. In fact, this was two. They're all tangled up here, so I've actually got 3 rose plants, plus the one I gave to Sean, so that makes it 4 rose plants that were in here, and they're all in that little tight group. I don't know why they stuck them all in the same hole. Anyway, I'm going to put them in pots and deal with them later. Oh, I've got to dig that one up first. Right, I've put the roses over in this back area of the allotment. Just put them in pots, give them a bit of water. They'll sit here out of the way for the moment, and I'll deal with them later, and I can get on with the asparagus bed. They are quite tall. I wonder whether to prune them or to leave them, because if I'm going to put them in hedges, I might as well leave them tall, because I don't want them bushy, so I'll make a decision on that later. Right, now that the roses have gone, I can clear the weeds out of this area. There's a lot of sticks. These are all the branches off the privet that I left to sort of rot down, and all the leaves have fallen off, so I'll just get rid of the branches. And I'll dig this thing up and throw it away, and sort out some of these weeds. I've tried all sorts of things to get rid of this stump, I've burnt most of it off last time, but there's a bit left, and I tried cutting it and it's hard going, so I'm going to have another little fire on top of it. So I'll empty out all these ashes, put them somewhere else, and I've got lots of sticks and things that I'm gathering from around the place as I'm tidying up. So I'll put this barrel on top of this and put the sticks and things on top, and then I'll have another little fire, and that should get rid of this stump. The operative word being should, because these things are tough to get rid of. And then I will do the same with this one, because that's a bramble with really deep roots that I've tried digging out, and that's impossible. I think that's another hawthorn. It's not as thick as the others, but if I leave it, it will get thick, so I want that burning out as well. So I'm going to have a couple of little fires. Aside for now, and I'll put all the ashes in that grey barrel. Well, I say ashes. Oh. Bits of charcoal and whatever didn't really burn. So you see, if I lift the barrel, there's the stump and there's a root of a bramble there as well. So these two should get burnt, right? Just put the kindling on, and we've got these pallets that need burning, so that should get rid of this. So I'll just put the kindling in. I'm not going to light the fire today, I'll do that tomorrow. Well, this mushroom was a great disappointment. It never did anything. These white things are actually spider webs. I gave it every opportunity. I tried all sorts. I tried keeping it moist. I tried to keep it as reasonably as controlled temperature as I could, giving it that it's an allotment shed, but it never produced anything. So it was a great disappointment. So I'm going to use the manure that was in here, because it's good, well rotted manure. I'm going to use that for the asparagus bed, so at least it'll go to something. And then I can take this bed out of the shed and put it to use on the allotment. See, there's still stuff coming through. Weeds are still coming through, so it's obviously good nutrient dense soil that despite it being dark, things are still germinating and coming up in it, but the only thing that didn't come up were the mushrooms. Setting up the asparagus bed was a long process, so it's in a separate video. Right, this bath is now empty, so I'm going to have a go at getting it out of the shed. It's been here that long, there's all these cobwebs all along there, but I'll move it out, obviously. I'm not going to film that, and then that will give me a third of my shed back. Right, that bath is gone. It's been here so long it just feels weird not having it here. I've got used to having it there, so I'll move these bricks that it was laying on, and then I can use this space. No doubt it will soon fill up, but at least I've got more space in the shed now. Well, it's unfortunate that trying to grow mushrooms in a bath in the shed didn't work, but that's life. You can't succeed at everything. But there is a plan B of growing mushrooms in logs, which will be coming up in the future videos. I've built a temporary cold frame so that I can hide enough plants in here, as the greenhouse is getting rather full. So I can put some stuff in here. I've got this window that's about a metre either way, so I've built the cold frame to match the size of this. I will put that top on top of the cold frame. That will do. There is a deliberate little gap here because it is a cold frame and not a greenhouse, and it needs to acclimatise the plants to the outside conditions, so they need to get exposed to the air and the drafts. And I'll initially put them in here and cover them up, and then later on, after a couple of days, I can lift that so they get more air on them, and eventually take the top off, and by then they'll be used to the outside temperatures. They'll get a bit more of a breeze on them, and after a couple of days I can plant them out. It's 3 bricks high. The bricks will absorb the heat and give it off when it gets colder at night, so they will help mediate the temperature variation a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Right, well that's that cold frame filled up. Looks a bit white and frosted, I don't know why, but I think that's just a light. But because I put the leeks in, and they're in big pots rather than modules, I had to raise the level a little bit by adding another layer of bricks. But I didn't have enough, so there's a gap on the side there, but that's alright, that shouldn't matter. Yeah, there's a bit of a gap on that side, and there's a bit of a gap on this side, but that will give them a bit of air coming through anyway. It doesn't have to be airtight, because leeks and onions are fairly hardy. It's only to protect them if we get a really cold frost, and if that happens I can always come in and throw a bit of fleece over it, but it should be alright. And total cost, 0, because the window was given to me and the bricks were given to me, so that's the cheapest cold frame I can ever build, and I know it'll work well because I've made these before. I had another go at burning this stump that was here, and this lifted and have a look. It is still there, but it still feels quite hard. But I should be able to get an axe and just chip away at the bits that are burnt, and then it will be chipped this area, so that's finally got rid of that. And this one is next, so once I've removed all the carpet from around it, there's carpet there, there's carpet around there, so this will be next. And then I've got 1, 2, which was the old apple tree, and this is another hawthorn, so these need to be bent out as well, but it's a bit dangerous because of this other apple tree being so close to it. It's got so many beautiful blossoms on it. Hopefully they'll turn into nice apples, because all the branches are coming up from up there. That's coming up above the rootstock, because I think that the graft is down there, so this should be coming up from above it, so we'll see what it produces, if anything. I've just picked the last parsnip. Looks impressive looking at it that way, but when you look at the leaves you get an idea of the scale of the parsnips I've managed to grow. They're fine, there's no problems with them, but they're just a tad on the small side. But then I didn't look after them, I didn't water them right, and in fact at all, and because the privet and the tree was shading them, they've not done well. This one obviously it's come back from the root, so it's taken some from the root. I mean, the root is all soft and squishy now, so it's no good for eating, but it's no great loss, because you can buy a kilo of parsnips for pennies, so it's really done for fun rather than to save money, because you spend more than that on the seed. But yeah, shame that I didn't get a good crop of it last year, but life is like that.